Good evening, everybody. It is officially springtime in Colorado. That means the ice is melting, the trails are thawing, and I'm probably not going to be shooting photos tonight in negative temperatures, which is fantastic. So we got still a little bit of a moon going on, which is washing out the Milky Way core, but we have Orion and Pleiades with a really cool alignment with Venus right now. We got the California Nebula setting in the western sky just after sundown. So if everything goes right, in the next 2 nights, we're going to get 4 14ers photographed. Let's get to it. The first mountain we're going to look at is Quandary Peak. It's the highest summit in the 10-mile range in the Rocky Mountains, and it's most commonly climbed 14er in Colorado. It is nearly the same elevation as Castle Peak and Mount Evans. It lies in Summit County and within the White River National Forest and is southwest of the town of Breckenridge. With an elevation of 14,271 feet, it's the 14th tallest mountain in the state. It's even popular in the winter, with many people skiing up this mountain to enjoy the views and the ride down. I recorded a nice little vlog on my Insta360, but because of the traffic and the wind noise, I'm just going to describe what we're seeing here. So I found this pull-off on the side of Hoosier Pass, and it has a perfect view of the south side of Quandary. I won't be able to get Orion setting here because we are too far to the south, but I think Venus and the Pleiades will be sitting over that direction really nice right after sunset. Now the 10-mile range and the Mosquito range are essentially one range that's divided by the Continental Divide, but many people just call it the Mosquito 10-mile, and you can see how they really are connected in this video. Now we're going to find another nice little pullout to photograph Mount Lincoln and Mount Bross. Mount Lincoln, with an elevation of 14,291 feet, is the highest summit in the Mosquito 10-mile range, and just to the south along the same ridge is the rolling giant of Mount Bross at 14,178 feet. This might look like one big mountain, but to be ranked as a peak, the summit must have at least 300 feet of prominence, which is the amount of elevation it rises above the lowest saddle that connects to the nearest higher peak. This guideline has been used in Colorado for some time. Along the ridge between Lincoln and Bross is another unranked 14er. With a prominence of 152 feet, Mount Cameron isn't technically ranked, but it's still a noteworthy summit. Now, because of some annoying politics, these summits are currently closed to the public by private landowners. I'm not getting involved in the dispute, I just hope these beautiful peaks will be open to climb soon. The constellation of Orion is going to be setting gorgeously right in the saddle between Mount Lincoln and Mount Bross a little bit after sunset. So we got our plan for tonight, and it's going to be beautiful. So last night ended up working out really well. The clouds stayed away, as you could tell how blue everything was, and we got some really cool shots. So the first one I'd like to look at here is the image of Mount Lincoln and Bross that we got. Orion ended up setting a little bit further south than what it was looking like on Google Earth, but not an issue at all. It's perfectly centered right over Bross there. And then I wasn't sure exactly how good the Venus and Pleiades alignment would be, but it turned out really pretty. Venus is pretty bright in this composition, and I like it though. It makes it more of a unique photo, and it's not something that you'll see in every photo with Orion constellation side of the Milky Way, so I think this one ended up being really cool. Now the only thing I'm not totally sure about, but I don't know, I like it personally, is the lighting on those trees in the foreground there. As you guys could see from that last video, I was just off of that road, and it's a pretty common road. People use it to commute back and forth from Fairplay and Alma to Breckenridge to work. So when I was there just a little bit after sunset, there were a lot of people coming home after working in Breckenridge and driving back over that pass. I was able to get enough photos that I could stack them to do some good noise reduction, and when I would stack them for noise reduction, it would actually get rid of all of the lights on the trees because there were more photos without cars than photos with cars, so it got rid of the outlying data. But then I decided I kind of wanted a little bit more dimension in the foreground, so I changed my stacking mode in Photoshop to include the mean average, not the median average, and that did allow some of the data that had the light on the trees to come through. And this is the result. And I honestly like it. It kind of looks like some decent low-level lighting coming from off on the right side, but again, I am open to hear your opinions in the comments down below. So that is the photo of Lincoln and Bross, and we'll say Cameron too. I think it should count. Next, we went up to photograph Quandary. Again, this one worked out really, really well. And the same thing, if you notice right away, the foreground trees, I did the exact same thing and got a little light on them, and I think it's gonna be what I'm going with. So yeah, Venus and the Pleiades were sitting really nice right next to each other. I kind of wish Venus wasn't there for this one, just a little bit, because it's ruining some of the details in the Pleiades, but I don't know, it's a cool looking thing. And I've already had some people commenting that I've shared this with that they don't like the moon in the photo, which is interesting that that was their first assumption. But no, it's that other planet, which I think is pretty cool. And I love how the California Nebula turned out. And that is so much thanks to the modified camera here. This RP grabs so much more of that H-alpha gas that it really makes the California Nebula stand out and have really good detail to it, as opposed to some of my other photos on my R5 where it was red but you couldn't see the structure to it, and I really like being able to see that. So with this, we got Quandary, Lincoln, and Bross in the books. We photographed Democrat on that crazy all-nighter that you can watch in this video right here. And now we're going to go out and scout for Mount Sherman, the last 14er in the mosquito range. Mount Sherman, in the middle of the north to south trending mosquito range, is a rounded 14,036 foot high peak. This mountain, usually considered one of the easiest of Colorado's 54 14ers, is an excellent climb for beginning mountaineers, but basic mountaineering rules still apply. The peak is named for the Union General William T. Sherman, who, during Civil War, practiced a scorched earth policy while marching to Atlanta in 1854. Sherman, Colorado's 46th highest peak, is a fast hike for a reasonably fit person since it's possible to park as high as 12,000 feet, leaving only a couple thousand feet of elevation gain to the summit and the round-trip hike of just over 5 miles. It always seems to be windy on Sherman's upper ridge and summit. It's necessary to get an early start, carry rain gear, and keep an eye on the weather for thunderstorms. Now, because this is such a rolling mountain without a really defined peak, I wanted to get a nice high perspective and get pretty close to the mountain to get some good dimension to it. So I decided to drive up to the trailhead of Pennsylvania Mountain, which is just to the north, to get a nice perspective. Well, Mount Sherman has proved to be a little bit more of an adventure than we were expecting. Thank God it is so warm out right now. I wouldn't be doing this about a month ago. So I thought I would be able to drive really close to here, like within a few hundred feet or so. But of course, even though it is springtime, it is still very much winter up on the top of Colorado here. That road wasn't plowed, probably a good quarter mile below the trailhead. So I got to pack up my stuff, throw it on my back, and make this hike up here. It was a little post-holy because I didn't bring my skis, but not terrible. It is starting to freeze over pretty nice, so definitely a little bit more adventure than I was expecting for this evening. But we found an absolutely gorgeous view of Mount Sherman here. I can't wait to show you guys this foreground. And we have perfect Orion and the dog, Sirius, the constellation of Sirius, that's a dog, setting right over this mountain and is just going to line up perfectly. As far as the camera gear, when I was shooting Quandary and Bross and Lincoln last night, the Nomad tracker was giving me a little bit of an issue with a little bit of play in the gears. But that was my fault. Again, most of the problems with this stuff is user error. I sent it to our Facebook group that is reviewing the Nomad, the little group chat, and Alan Wallace, who, if any of you watching are not subscribed to Mr. Alan Wallace, go do it right now. Like, leave my video, go subscribe to his channel. He is amazing at explaining astrophotography, and he wrote the best book I've ever read on astrophotography. It's an Astrophoto Bible, so go follow him and then come back and finish this video. Did you follow him? Okay, good. So he told me that there's a little port in the Nomad tracker that you can get a hex key into to tighten down how the gears are connected to each other. So that helped out a lot. I'm not having to weight it as much to the west as I was last night. And now we are getting some gorgeous track shots, 2 minutes, 50 millimeters on that modified RP. This is going to line up perfectly. I'm going to shut you guys down, and I don't have my Jeep here. I can't sit in my Jeep, so I'm just gonna pretty much enjoy a beautiful night under the stars. It's funny, man, some nights are just a little bit perfect, and tonight's one of them. Yeah, I had to walk further than I was hoping for, and little bit of an issue with the Nomad. That thing Alan told me to tighten, I tightened too far, and at a certain point it stopped rotating right, but got that running. Got that fixed real quick. I got my R5 running its time lapse, so my panorama's coming together great. The stars are sitting perfect. The weather is gorgeous. There's not even the slightest bit of wind. And I'm so far away from towns. There's no light pollution. It's just the nights like this are what made me fall in love with astrophotography. You're just out here alone, and yeah, I'm alone even if I'm bringing you guys along with. You get time to think. You get time to disconnect, to stop hurrying, because I'm running tons of time on my camera. There's nothing better to do than just sit here and enjoy the gorgeous night sky. I don't know, I'm getting like poetic about it or whatever, or maybe I'm not getting poetic, I'm just trying to, but this is getting me excited because a lot of the reason I started this project was because I just wanted to spend more time outside. I wanted to be under the stars more than I have been in the past few years. And I wanted to explore my home state of Colorado. I wanted to get into the mountain ranges that I've never really explored before. And this is one of them. It's near my house. It's not that far away, but I've never been right where I'm at. And I'm so grateful that I get this opportunity. I am going to take this time to beg for those thumbs ups, those follows, your comments or questions. I'll let you know if you didn't before, all my gear, there's affiliate links down below. I'm running Zoom classes, especially during the full moon. I'd love to fill up some time with sharing with you guys about how much you love astrophotography and how we can learn from each other and get better at it. So there's links down below for that. I kind of feel cheesy right now plugging things, but I guess we do have to pay the bills somehow. This is such a beautiful night. This is what it's all about. That was the perfect night. Like I was just saying, me, my cameras, and my stars, no wind, no clouds, no real issues. The Nomad, once I did my job right, it did its job right. We got some gorgeous 2-minute tracked images, 50 millimeters, and yeah, not much to complain about this evening. That will wrap up the in the field portion of this video. Let's hop back to the office quick and we'll take a look at our final images. Sorry for getting all poetic out there or whatever that was. I was just having a fantastic night under the stars. Alright, so we got our edit made for Mount Sherman, and here it is. As you can see, the Orion constellation in Sirius and the Seagull Nebula are looking really nice over that mountain, and I'm very glad I chose to shoot from this location because I know this mountain would just not look very impressive at all if I was any lower. I really wanted to be kind of horizontal with it, so I think this worked out really well. And if you can't tell, I hit the trees here with a little bit of that foreground lighting. I used my Lume Cube panel to light up those trees. I did this to give it a similar feel to the ones that you were just looking at from Quandary and Lincoln and Bros. I wanted it to feel like a continuous series of images, and I think with having Orion setting and having the trees in the foreground with a little bit of light on them, it should be a pretty cohesive set of images. So that's what I went with. I could have had everything black up there, but I just wanted to have a little bit of extra light going on. So that is our image from Sherman, and that wraps up a full mountain range of 14ers. We got everything in the Mosquito and Mosquito 10-mile range photographed. Next, I am planning on going out to Buena Vista to photograph a few of the collegiate peaks, this time with a bit of a longer lens is my plan. I'm going to try to get some kind of deep space with the mountains photographed. We'll see how that goes, see how the Nomad holds up under a longer lens, because it did really well once I got all the gears lined up properly in there. Alright, I am done. Like, comment, subscribe, buy my things in my affiliate. Oh, and this is going to be cool. I just got some custom artwork made from a local artist. I will be doing an entire video on that, but I think we might have like merch and stuff coming. If anyone is interested in buying like stickers or t-shirts or hats or anything like that, I'm going to be working on it. We're making this happen. All right, thank you guys.